Hey folks, Tim Newman with Soft Lite Studios, and it's time for another daily assignment. This one for July 6th, 2019. Today, we are going to focus on monochrome pictures. Now, I know black and whites are monochrome pictures, but we're thinking about color in our monochromatic pictures. Basically, one color, but presented as a variety of different shades within that image. So what you need to do is go out and look for compelling scenes where you make the image all about the one color that exists in that scene. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. Now, this is clearly a monochromatic picture, and I'm quite proud of it. I love the leading lines. I love the perspective. It was a super fun shot to get, but it's not the type of monochromatic picture that we are talking about. This has been converted into black and white, and while indeed it is monochromatic, it is not color-based. Picture number 2 is color-based, and you can see in this picture, it is all about the shades of yellow that exist in this scene. Now, to be fair, there is a second color that's been introduced in this picture, and sometimes that's unavoidable, and sometimes it works really well in balancing out the color that's in the picture. You notice that this color happens to be blue, placed up against yellow, pretty close to complementary, not a bad way to go. You'll also notice that this picture, in addition to being monochromatic, is all about patterns and symmetry that exist here in this scene in nature. Not to mention, last but not least, there is even a nod to the rule of thirds here, if you think about it. Okay, let's take a look at the elements of design that matter to us most here. It's color, and then color, and then color. Those are the most important parts in this assignment. Look for that repetitive color that could be worked in different shades to create that monochromatic scene. Now, all kidding aside, that doesn't mean ignore some of the other elements of design, such as pattern and symmetry and leading lines, but make color be your first choice here. All right, some more sample images for you. This picture right here is, again, another monochromatic scene. This picture is all about the subtle shades of tans or browns that you see in the ceiling of this church. Yes, there are some accent colors here, and quite frankly, I think those accent colors really balance out the tonal balance in this image. And certainly the leading lines, the patterns, and the symmetry here make the scene. In fact, I would go as far as to say that if we had all sorts of color in this scene and we didn't have it as a monochromatic sets of browns and tans, that this scene would be very jumbled and very chaotic and hard to identify the way we are identifying it here. So monochromatic scenes can work really, really well in complex, chaotic situations where there are a ton of lines and patterns going every which way in the scene. Our next picture here, another nod to monochromatic imaging. Basically, blues all throughout the scene. Now, we do get a little shift to purple on the marble and the floor, but that's really still a shade of that blue, and it's just being lightened up by the light coming up through the window at the far end of this being the Air Force Chapel at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Yes, there are some accent colors in here, and I think they really lend themselves well to the pattern and the symmetry in the scene, but by and large, this picture is all about the blues. And hey, if you're an Air Force cadet, you are all about the blues. Last picture here. Another monochromatic scene. Yes, there's some white woven into this scene, and we see lots of monochromatic scenes with blacks woven into the scene as an alternative. It's important to remember white is the complete presence of all colors. Black is the complete absence of any colors. So they work well in monochromatic scenes. This scene here does some really great shifts of the colors yellow here. And oh, by the way, you'll notice that I think monochromatic scenes work really, really well for those intentional camera movement images that we see here. All right, couple slides to wrap up. First off, rules of composition. rule of thirds is something that's important to keep in mind here. Our point of view matters. You can see that it matters in almost every image that we've seen so far as our examples here. And balance matters a lot. Geometric balance in a lot of these pictures was really important, and so was tonal balance. Don't forget that as well. Tonal balance works really, really well with monochromatic images. All right, one last slide. Our rules for the file that you might be uploading for the semi-monthly image critique. There are folders created out there. Submit your images and get them in the hopper for a potential critique session online to be coming up. You'll notice that we have a naming standard there, an example. Please follow that if you're uploading an image for this July 6th assignment. Last but not least, our upload URL down there at the very bottom. And as you might know by now, that URL is included as a clickable link in the description underneath this video, which is darn handy because it's right next to that subscribe button that you should be mashing with a mouse click right now to keep track of all of the daily assignments that we are bringing to you. Well, that's it, folks. We're going to part with our normal message. Remember, saying things over and over again helps. Learning equals skills. Practice equals mastery. We'll see you out there.